Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
So let's get to it.
Bring the bang!
What's up, everybody? It's Silver Rider. I'm ready to bring the bang to you and Dr. Logan. Ooh, yeah. Man, what an exciting week we had. We had my family up the bank at high. The Seattle Seahawks. Actually, we did that ourselves. I'll get to that. But I'm okay. I'm actually okay in Rams. Probably the worst loss. That's the way I've ever seen the Rams loss like that ever. That's just a lot. And I want to say that's probably a lot because of the fans.
Yo, everybody, it's your rider. So let's get to it.
We all know why we're here. Hard hits you. Ooh, yeah. Man, here to talk UFC, talk about the NFL game, what's coming up. I got special announcements for Thursday. We get to a lot of stuff. Future content. So fans know it's fun. Everybody's practicing done doing their thing. Practically everywhere. You do get another very note. Yeah. Yes, we're getting a showdown lineup. That's what we're going to do. And hopefully Steve didn't tell me on that. But it's the whole weekend started off podcast early on Saturday. And then going to UFC 324. Me and Dan had talked about
Yo, everybody, it's your
earlier
rider.
in that week on Thursday.
So let's get to it.
Bring the bang!
Definitely nailed it. Definitely had fun early. But a lot of hard knockouts, decision, and at the same time, we nailed the knockouts, but because there was more decisions and we didn't play a lot of those, we were able to get money early, and then we tried to either that money. I did. I took that money, and I threw it everything. But I'm people, let's get up in here. Let's get live. See that? It says I'm live. Live, right? Breathing, people. But of course, I'll go down.
Yo, everybody, it's your rider. So let's get to it.
Great.
Bring the bang!
Party. Dan and I were both involved in it. Started just watching out. Had our guy Call of Duty stay in the background in the place. Come on, man. Oh, that's your mom. That's our guy lives. So we got DJ Magic Mike. Any one of these Magic Mike things on, man. If DJ Magic Mike does, you can get a lot of paid. The background of these things. Most of the time, that doesn't happen rare. Today is early on Saturday, so get to the background music like some of the games while we're live doing that party. That's like, supposed to get live bets for it. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Let's hit it off. We had Adam.
Yo, everybody, it's your rider.
Miller.
So let's get to it.
Bring the bang!
And wait from the goal. Go ahead with it. You just wait in it. Tap. And you get one actually and some punches. And he was doing well. He missed quite practically from the whole first round. And then done. Out. Boy slept. And that's how Ty Miller did it. Then we got everybody's most hated nightmare for both love and gentlemen. I don't even know what to call him. And at this point, it's literally Gaethje. It's Gaethje. He's got the Macho Man Randy Garcia. Remember, Josh Hawkins got
Yo, everybody, it's your rider. So let's get to it.
Bring the bang!
Zero on Rack was zero. Like, they didn't even give him, he threw a punch. They just said he turned around and ran tail, and they said he wasn't even working for it. I'm surprised he ain't cut already. Why not Denzel Freeman? But he definitely ain't Denzel Washington. That was I'm a run. But I'm up on you, man. I'm a fighter. Sometimes I'll do the wild shit. Right? Most of the time, I'm still winning. So, I mean, he even went on that or not to be disqualified or all this wild other stuff.
Yo, everybody, it's Heel
He's
Ride.
trying to win it. But
So let's get to it.
Bring the pain.
You know, I think people finally understand that after getting in a fight, although he didn't get in a fight at all, and then be able to bust out that rap, like that's crazy. I've done a podcast after fighting, and it's just, I'm jacked up. I just got them fighting. I got punched in the head a lot, kicked in the body, I kicked hard, kicked in the head. You know, like, so more proud of you. Keep rolling with it. I saw you was on with Ariel Hawani show, and he said he's gonna roll with it. But hey, K-Fab is back, right? Maybe he should just call it WWE. I mean, we're practically the same company.
Yo, everybody, it's
We'll
Heel
make more money
Ride.
too, right? But
So let's get to it.
I'm sorry that. Let's fight back to that type of fight course. I really like Paul Johnson, but Alex Perez really did such good in the last fight against Alabama. And honestly thought he was going to win that fight. I was a little scared. I picked Alabama. But, and Dan and I covered that fight on the fight again. We were able to kill it. It failed to play the knockout. So that being said, Alex Perez wasn't when you play dog at the beginning of the week of 172. Prior to Gaethje, it was more so I thought this fight would end up going to and then I thought that the volume up the middle from Perez worked.
Yo, everybody, it's Heel Ride.
He had a lot of
So let's get to it.
Bring the pain.
talking about thoughts and he tried to fight it out. The ref gave him a chance to fight it out. So, you know, DFS wise, that kind of sucked for a lot of people because he just ended up making more money. But, I mean, going later in the round, he didn't win. But he also followed up on that end. So, you know, Johnson's back at it, and he'll get back at it, and it's just something that just happened. He got flipped, and he was jumping around, and there was a couple times I was like, oh, okay, he's back. And if Perez would go watching it again. And I was like, oh, he's not good. Neat to get it. What up, Monk Man? How you doing today? We're here talking UFC. Gonna get a replay.
Yo, everybody, it's Heel Ride. So let's get to it.
Bring the pain.
Worked the whole weekend out. Well, a little bit of kudos for having the Taparoto too. Because, you know, you get over the Taparoto and use the code word win, and you will be our rich friend. I'm rapping about UFC. I'm rapping about the NFL. And I've got a lot on this show. Of course, during the football season, this show features the favorite player of the week on Tuesday. And on top of that, what is going on? You know, sometimes computers got jokes. There we go. So that being said, this was one of those things that ended up coming into fruition, right? So we'll go through. Fugit, of course, lost to Ty Miller, had that as a knockout. Josh Hockett got that knockout. Crazy dude again, got it. Dude, sometimes when you're going all crazy, apparently it did not hit when I hit it off. And you guys got to see me yapping my stuff out at the same time my music was still playing. So we got the jam. We got the jam for 8 minutes. Although that did suck for a lot of people that watched that. So sorry about that, people. But we're here to bring the pain. Ooh, yeah. Right? So again, we got to Alex Perez. I took Perez in this fight. I thought that this was going to go the distance. Perez would have all of the points come rolling up the middle. Exactly what he did. Unfortunately, Johnson got clipped. He got clipped. And that sucked. And he had a few chances he recovered. I kind of looked at it and I was like, man, Johnson recovered, right? Johnson recovered. He did not. He did not. Perez was just rolling up there. What's funny is when I fight, Perez fights kind of like me. I kind of go in, when I blitz, I go in with a reckless abandonment and I just clock. So that's kind of what happened. So I did pick Perez. At this point, I played in the subs only Discord at Dr. Roto. Again, code word win, and you could be our rich friend. Had that in there, 3-leg parlay. It was a plus 834. Smashed it right from the go. Tons of money. So I'm like, all right, well, you know what happens when you get tons of money? You start putting that money down. Well, that money paid off real quick, but it did not work out. Of course, I picked Modestus Bukauskas, and he got bukakaked by Nikita Krylov. Krylov looked better. He was the bigger of the two fighters. He acted like the bigger of the two fighters. He did not give any kind of leverage to Bukauskas anytime. So that was we had that fight going under. So that was another positive that we had going on. And then we get to ATV Gaethje, right? Okay. All right. I don't know. And I like Pulev, but I don't know whose jaw he inherited in that first round. I don't know if he had Wolverine recovery speed. I thought that fight ended 3 times. 3 times. And I'm just like, what's going on? I'm just like, whatever. So that was my first miss of the night. I had Gaethje by knockout, and it was there. But again, that's not our decisions. That's the chances we take as professionals, right? So we move along to Nurmagomedov. Oh man, Nurmagomedov versus Figueiredo, and we knew this was going the distance. I had a prop. I was a little aggressive with the parlay of pain. That's just me sometimes. Sometimes you could just be easy, right? But then sometimes you just want that extra money, make that bigger parlay, and you take an under. I thought Nurmagomedov could have finished him, was worth a shot. It didn't happen. All right. Got to Silva versus Arnold. I thought somebody was going down. I did. I just thought somebody was going down. And I'm like sitting here like, what is going on? I was like, this dude right here is literally getting knocked. Arnold had a good counter. So Arnold Allen looked great. He just kept busy up the middle on Silva, Gene Silva, that is. And it kind of threw Silva off, but then you saw Silva kind of finally get into his attitude. And then he was settled in. He was landing blows, the more powerful blows. He gets the win, but that was a close decision. Next fight, of course, Natalia Silva and Thug Rose. I know a lot of people think Thug Rose won that fight. I gotta agree with you. But I'm going to say the Sean O'Malley Song Yadong fight, I thought was a lot closer. And you could have said that Song won as opposed to Rose winning. But I did feel Rose won. But that first round was really hard to judge because they kind of were just jumping around, right? So that's kind of what happens in the things. And so we move along, get to the main event. I got Patty, the baddie. Of course, I did it. I was on it. And he didn't get knocked out. Styles don't get knocked out.
But if you ever fight the Macho Man Randy Savage, ooh yeah, you'll feel what the elbow feels like.
But that being said, that's the entire card. Went 9-2 overall. Losses being Bukauskas and Patty Pimblett. Of course, I got O'Malley right. We covered 5 fights on the Fight Club of Pain. And let's get to the records. So 92 overall. I went 4-1 on the Fight Club of Pain. Loss being Justin Gaethje. All right. I picked WCA. And Dan ended up picking. He had Gaethje, but he picked Derek Lewis because he loves Derek Lewis, and he picked Arnold Allen. Right. And Dan actually nailed some of those. He said all those fights were going distance, and every one of those fights went distance. Dan gave you his guy with a distance parlay. We also ran it back like we always do on the Fight Club of Pain every Thursday live. We run it back like that as well, too. So that was able to work out. Now, let's go over some of the DFS percentages. Y'all people really did not like Gene Silva. Y'all didn't like him. You know, Silva was one of the lowest owned cats on this dog fight, right? And that's saying me talking to dude that barks all the time, call him a cat, now he a dog, right? 19% to 21% owned on the major slates. That is free cash for a UFC DFS card. Let's move along. O'Malley, 24%. That's not bad. That's not bad. Now, he didn't score well, right? And at the same time, too, get that 24%. You're hoping for an 80 or a 90. But I think he got about a 66. What's up, Miss Madden? What's up, 814? You're a Giant fan. Who are you, a Giant fan? LA is out of the playoffs. They are. I am getting that 81 breed. We're going to get there. And another shout out to JTJ for hitting my music was still going on. Sometimes we all have little things. You know, after 500 episodes, I've only had a few moopaws. I had one when I did the Juicebox Walker episode. My volume was completely up. I sounded like literally I was the microphone. And then I had a Bobby Brown episode that I recorded with my wife. It's completely empty. So I had to re-record that. Did it. And then I've had a couple other things. So I'm going to say this is kind of up there, but it's not top. I have not messed up. I've messed up maybe less than 10 times overall. I think that's pretty good for doing a one-man show on a podcast, other than the people that help behind the scenes like Danger, Dr. Roto, my guy DJ Chaos for providing my awesome intro music that people listen to for 8 minutes. Yo, buddy, this is Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain, right? But we got the UFC rundown going, right? Doug Rose, 24%. I did see her slip up to 33% on some of the other slates that had less, we're around 300, 400 people in those contests. You know who's really cool? It was Perez. Alex Perez, 17% owned. One of the highest scoring totals of the night, other than, of course, the champion himself, Justin Gaethje. But that right there to me is what is different about UFC DFS than the NFL, MLB, NBA DFS. So I don't even want NBA DFS. Could be in first all night long, winning thousands of dollars. And you wake up in the morning because the game goes late and you win 25 cents. I just don't know that. I just don't know how that happens, because if you're up there at the top with football, you ain't never coming down like that. Basketball, I don't know how y'all do it. That's a hell of a ride. That's on you. That's why I don't play that game. That's why I do UFC, MLB, and NFL. All right, let's get to it. Ty Miller was 23%. Another guy that was great. Thought he was going to make it. Recommended him. But, it's kind of hard when you get those guys first match. They're kind of coming in, starting off the card. I didn't see that knockout coming that early, though I had money on it. It still was one of those things that happened. And, of course, Hockett, 39%. So, and then, everybody else from there, like Nurmagomedov, was 57%, I think it was. So let's get to it. The Parlay of Pain, 2 and 3. I had knockout for Miller fight. No distance for the Hockett fight. Gaethje first and second round knockout, because that's the only way I could get access to it. Negative 260. Nurmagomedov, I went for the plus 130 over the distance, which I think was a negative 280. You wouldn't have won anything. It just wouldn't add. And of course, I had Silva knockout sub. Didn't happen. Got the win. That's why I should have went knockout points. Knockout points would have did that, but knockout points, unfortunately, I think it was like a negative 332 for him. So I gotta say, the sports books were pretty sharp coming back after a long layoff. They did have some things we were able to take advantage of, like significant strikes. I still got the significant strikes for Modestas Bukakis. They had his 30 plus significant strikes. Mind you, he's a striker. He's a good fighter. It was like a plus 108. That was easy money. Easy money. So we went on that. And that bet was in the subs only Discord at Dr. Roto, as well as the 5-tastic picks bet as well. The 5-tastic picks, all 5 fighters won 5-0. Money line on that, right? That, unfortunately, is behind the paywall at Dr. Roto. You do have to join for that. I never give that out live. And the money line parlay in the Dr. Roto subs only Discord was 3 and 2. Now round robin, all that returned. On the Parlay of Pain, I returned 60% of what I put in. Not bad for 2 and 3. That's why I teach round robin. And that's why the UFC betting is the best round robin. I promise you. Promise you that. Promise you. And if you don't believe me, listen to the Fight Club of Pain live on Thursdays. You'll hear it enough, and I'll explain it why. All right. So overall, not bad. Again, we get the Gaethje knockout, we get a Silva knockout, or we definitely get the Gaethje knockout, and maybe we play distance. We're talking 5-0. We had a great year last year. That's what we do. So moving along, I've got to say, overall, even with the 5 knockouts and 6 decisions, it was a good card. Again, started off real fast, having that three-leg parlay plus 834 hit on top of all 3 of those first fights hitting with knockout. So it was all positive. It was all positive money, like I said. So we didn't lose any money the rest of the fight. And noted by the end of the night, I'm kind of just chilling out. I already got my bets in. So I kind of just make live bets, and that's what I did on our live stream. So that being said, we'll talk about that live stream real quick. So Dan and I this year decided to do a live stream for the main event. So this week, might not be able to do it, might be able to do it. It all depends on how it works out. The wife's at work. There's a karate tournament that I'm not unfortunately fighting in. Just stuff. Got to go see the doctor Thursday, make sure everything's good. I know it's good, but there might be a surgery. So that being said, it's the things that happen. But I'll be back, and I'll be back to do what I do best, and that's bring the pain, right? But I already have points on the season, and it was doubled up points from my championship win at the end of last season when I took my trophy home, and those count now. So while those guys catch the points up for me, and I can take time, heal my body, and then come smash him at the end of the year and reclaim my throne. Ooh, yeah! Not that it needs reclaimed, because ain't no one beat me. So, except my teammates, they kick my ass. But that's another story. They make me better for my competition. And that's the best. That's what being a team is all about. So I had a great time with Dan. We were just drinking some beers. I probably dropped some F-bombs a little too much, but I was getting a little frustrated with all those decisions in the middle. I needed those. I wanted some of that finish money. Like I said, a negative 260, a negative 118 for a decision, that's fine. I'm getting my money back on my decision, no bets. But, man, I want more money. That's why we do this. So that kind of teetered in. Let's get to the NFL. All right? And, of course, we'll get back into some other stuff. So got to the NFL. Steve and I, Fuego Steve, who does our basketball content, he comes on the Ultra Contrarian show, gives the GPP lineup. Had our guy JB, Subs Only Discord, watched the show last week, threw that DraftKings lineup in that we gave out into a 168 single entry tournament and returned over 3 times the amount of money he put in. It's great to hear those stories because not everybody always says it, or not everybody they all seem to be going away from the green screen now. I think a lot of people think that that's just taunting or kind of like that. So when I do my memes, there's a reason why I don't put my cash there. It's because none of y'all get to see what I make. That's it. Everybody else can be like, hey, look, I won $10,000. You just showed the world and the IRS that you just made $10,000. Me, on the other hand, you better figure that one out. But for me, it's all about the units, and the units were definitely great after this football season and after last year with the UFC. So I felt good about that. But man, Patriots, Broncos. The Patriots could only muster a defense of touchdown. Like, dude, the Patriots shouldn't even be there. But if you want to hear my thoughts of why they're there, we already know that's what the NFL wants. They're going to smear the Patriots and patriotism all in your faces. It's going to happen. So go Seahawks. Go Seahawks. I mean, I would have wished my team was there, but I'm always an NFC guy. I'm going to go for the NFC team. I mean, I didn't mind Kansas City, so if they'd have been there against the Seahawks, I'd be probably going with the Chiefs. But they weren't even there, and I was hoping the Bills would be there. That didn't happen. Outside of that, the Broncos showed why Bo Nix is a good quarterback. And at times, Stidham looked terrible. That turnover not only cost them that game, but was just pathetic. Honestly, it was pathetic. Why do that? Take the sack. Be smarter. You ain't no superhero, and you got a man trying to tackle you. You ain't that guy, bro. That's why you back up. I know some people on the internet were talking him up, but I never had any type of faith in Jarrett Stidham. He definitely wasn't gonna do good for you. And yeah, he got one touchdown, but if you didn't play Darnold or you didn't play Stafford, exactly what we were talking about on the Ultra Contrarian show, then you weren't our witch friend. That's all I gotta say. But that was a good game. We'll talk about the Rams Seahawks. All I gotta say, Parkinson may not have scored. That was a big catch he dropped, but he could have scored that touchdown right there. Also, the muff punt. Earlier in that game, there was a muff punt and the dude fell on it, Smith. Then there was that next one, and I was really worried, but he had caught it. And when that ball was in that midair, and I'm thinking of how great that Rams stop was of the Seahawks after halftime, I go, he better just catch this. And out of nowhere, he does exactly what you should never do. Who in their right mind catches a pass falling backwards unless you're trying to be Odell Beckham Jr. with a one-handed, like, whatever. Like, bro, you're Xavier Smith. You were, like, hot for a minute. You scored, like, one touchdown for us. And you're backpedaling, falling on your ass, trying to catch a punt in a game, in a moment that is crucial. And that is why the Rams lost that game. Everything else in that game was solid. The Seahawks played great. Kenneth Walker went off exactly why he was the macho pick of the week, why Kyron Williams was the must start as well, why Puka Nacua and JSN were the must starts. We said that. That's what me and Steve said. That was whatever you had to do. You had to get Stafford or Darnold in. You had to get Walker in that. So that worked out really well for all of our content at Dr. Roto because, you know, with, like I said, with a lot of other sites going MIA right now until Super Bowl, maybe not. That left the door wide open for me and Steve. Me and Steve were able to deliver, and we were able to deliver lineups that were in the top 20% on DraftKings. So you got to love that stuff. You got to love it. That's what we work hard for. And we work hard for you. All of you pain bringers. So, of course, this Thursday, 7 p.m., Dan and I will be doing UFC 325 Volkanovski versus Lopez 2. We're going to be doing 5 fights as of right now. The 5 fights. I actually have already started it. Oh, look at that. It's right there. But I have it. One of the fights has me really torn. So, Rafael Fiziev was a trainer of one of our fighters at TKO Erie when he was a kid. So he had worked with them in their time. So he's had kind of like, that's how I first found out about Fiziev, right? And he talked about when I finally made the Fight Club of Pain a thing and started doing podcasts and covering UFC last year, right after the Super Bowl. So the Fight Club of Pain's year anniversary is coming up here. I can't wait. That being said, you know, I'm also a Mauricio Rufe fan. But now they left the Fighting Nerds, it's kind of like I still like them both. But you'll have to tune in on Thursday to see how I have that fight playing out, how Dan has that fight playing out in this card. This card is good, but the fact that it starts off with some soup cans, some talent from across the world, I don't know. Everybody thinks it's going distance. I want blood. I want violence. Let's get some knockouts. Who doesn't want a 25K bonus? I know if you say need override, 25K, I'd go in that fight, be like, either someone's earning 25K or I'm earning 25K. I mean, come on. So we're going to cover it. We'll have all the bets, the parlay of pain. Make sure you get over to Dr. Roto and get that in. We also do give out simulated lineups from DFS Hero. So you always get that DFS lineup from me. You get that DFS lineup from DFS Hero. Use code word DOC and you will get 20% off of your subscription. On top of that, sorry about that. On top of that, I also want to say that when you get all that and the addition of the soup can of the week by Dan to the show now, on top of the parlay of pain, this is one show that it's almost a can't miss for what we've been able to do and what we're trying to show, what we're trying to promote. The real ultimate goal of the Fight Club of Pain is to get Sirius XM Fantasy to recognize the UFC as a viable sport to talk about. And you talk about baseball. Like, oh, hey, that pitch was great. I like the pitches. Okay, slider. But you know what looks real good? Is when you know that man defeated another man or woman defeated another woman. And they took them apart, either by their hands or systematically breaking them down on the cage to the floor. This is a thinking game. Sometimes fight IQ is a huge thing. You don't have other teammates to bail out your bad arm or bail out your bad game. You're trying to go for the golden sombrero, right? You don't got people making jacks, saving the game, winning 1-0. You got to do this. This sport, the UFC, Dana White should be pushing this with the amount of exposure that DraftKings gives them. And with DraftKings going, the only site that I know of that has the draft UFC, which is an amazing contest between 3 people, right? You just draft them best ball. It's fun. That's innovation. And unless we recognize these sports, unless we give them a chance or listen to people like me, like we want picks, and somebody I have coming up soon, other people like that, the guy had the freckled salamander, yeah, the crazy guy, Jacob, right? Unless you listen to people like us, you're not going to give it a chance, and it deserves to have a chance. It is unique. The way that you can make parlays on FanDuel and now other sites being able to add prop bets on their knockout subs and stuff like that allows us to make bigger and badder parlays, bigger and badder money. And I say that because we could go right to the Super Bowl thing right now, right? And Kenneth Walker's probably a negative 160 to a negative 220 touchdown. But do you know that you could play a no distance at plus 118? If you know that that fight's going to go under, like the Hockett fight, there was no way that wasn't going to go under. It didn't matter that it was a sub or a knockout. We're playing no distance at positive money. So when you get those kinds of stats, why not take something for sure? What if Holoney comes in or say Darnold gets wild and runs it in himself, right? What if that happens? Well, then you don't get that money. You don't get it when Tyler Agier scores 2 touchdowns and Bijan Robinson doesn't get one. Your parlay is broken, but you're betting on a superstar to do what he does. And guess what? In the UFC, the superstars always do what they do, and they do it better than almost any other sport. And I'll stand on that. Let's move along. So that Fight Club watch party was insane. Like I was saying, beers, fun, crazy times. Dan going to get more beers. Me going to get more beers. Then eventually, we're also watching wrestling too. We're watching Saturday night main event. Dan's trying not to get any spoilers from that. And this week, we're going to have the Royal Rumble on. And then until that, but of course, we're going to be at the tournament. So hopefully we get back in time so I can make it. I can't promise a live watch party because even though I'm not fighting, it's one of those things that it's 3 hours away in New York. So you don't know when you're going to get back. But on top of that, if there's a chance, I would love to go at least live for the main event. So I know Dan's in for that as well too. So that being said, you definitely got to check it out. We threw down some live bets before every fight. Me and Dan gave our reiterated our predictions. And so if you was rolling with Dan, you was getting a lot of distance money, and that was really nice. If you roll with me, you roll both, you was just making money all night long. We threw out some parlays too. It was definitely fun to get that part of that, and I can't wait to do it again. That is a new addition for this year, along with the soup can of the week. I don't want to get too crazy, but I do want to say this Thursday, I was asked by 138 MMA to come on their UFC 325 discussion. So I'm humble. I've watched 138 MMA as well as We Want Picks, and I think it's there's another guy, Armin. I mean, if there's Artem, there's a bunch of people I watch, but those are the guys I watch most and all the time. I always give those like, and Johnny K picks. I always watch his stuff too. I just like to watch him, just watch other people and talk about fights and just see their point of view. Because I think that's what makes the Fight Club unique as well too, is having that tandem, having Dan being able to talk, and Dan watching the UFC more consistent longer than I have. And then now, since the Fight Club started, I've watched every single event outside of me fighting during that event and everything else. So for me, that's the product to give. But it was great that he asked me to come on, so I'm going to go on. So Dan and I are going to do the Fight Club of Pain. I'm going to be completely jacked up, get a little break, and then at 9:15 I'll be on with those guys. And it's believe me, it's going to be a hell of a time. They're practically going to be able to do the whole card, but because I'm going to be on a time strain at that time, working the next day. I've been off all day Thursday. I'm off Thursday, so I'm really happy about that. I won't be able to make it for the whole show, but just to have the honor of to be able to come on and to do that and to be fresh right off of the Fight Club and to go right on to 138 MMA's live stream, that's just awesome. So I'm going to be live streaming all day. You get heat override at the beginning, you get heat override then. And like I said, I really think all these guys I just mentioned are all legit. Ange, of course, We Want Picks. I don't want to leave him out without a name. Bet Sam's a cool dude too. And for me, like, those guys right there, those are that's my core. That's my core. Those guys are like me. They don't give a, they talk the no bullshit game. We're going to tell you how it is. We're going to talk to you. I'm a fighter. I'm going to give you my perspective as a fighter, just like Dan. He's going to give you his perspective as a boxer. Of course, me being a point fighter, using my legs, seeing openings. That's kind of where we get our stuff at. So it's going to be great to talk to. I know the guys at 138. Me and him have talked fight theory before too. And then hell, even when I did Connor Seifert in Erie of Oasis MMA here in Erie, Pennsylvania, we just talked fight theory. I just love talking fight theory, how this strategy can work and how that strategy can make us all money. And we'll be talking about that. Also, for the off season, of course, you're going to get Danger and Coach Al doing the PGA stuff, podcast name In the Cup. Lou Landers and John Caranondo have a new podcast coming out. It's called Fantasy Baseballers. That will be exclusively on the Dr. Roto Network and wherever Lou puts it. I mean, does his own thing. And of course, the Fight Club of Pain will be live every Thursday from now until football ends, until football starts again, and while football is going. And of course, while football is going, you will get that NFL coverage to the Thursday night game on that show. That's what we do, man. I just want to get a lot of that stuff out. I want to say also, great job to JB from the Dr. Roto Subs Only Discord. Way to take the information that Steve and I gave you, make money. Me and Steve sometimes go, hey, are we the only ones making money off of what we're doing? Well, no, there's a lot more of those this year. A lot of people have gave us like ribs or sex, so it feels good to sometimes get that little bit, but it drives us more and it makes us want to get those, turn that 168 into 10 times the amount, into 100 times the amount, because everybody gets that. All right. I also want to give a shout out to my sponsor, W Energy. Hashtag, of course, use the code word Bring the Energy, and you will get a 10% off of your discount. Again, I'm a fighter. I have used W Energy for 1 month. I love the results that W Energy gives me when I fight. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not saying that to say it. I'm saying it because I've used it and it's worked. And I am highly, highly, highly all about my diet, especially when it comes up to fight week. Like right now, this would have been fight week for me. My diet would have been restricted, and Dubby would be helping me. So I highly recommend them. And you can get that for a discount use code word Bring the Energy. All right, man. We've had a great show. I hope that everybody tunes in this Thursday, both to the Fight Club of Pain and also to 138 MMA's live podcast that I'll be on as well too. Let's get everybody some props. Go follow everybody else I talked to as well too. Jacob's crazy ass. I love his pics. I love his energy. He's got a camera now so you can see him dancing. Bro, if I ever met you in real life, we would dance together. I swear we would dance together. Have a great day, everybody, and always remember to bring the pain. Ooh. Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by
Yo,
subscribing
everybody,
to the
it's
channel and
Override.
checking out drroto.com.
So let's get
Till
to
the next
it.
visit.
Bring the pain!
Take care.